Year 10 and welcome to Assessment Week, Woo and indeed Who. What we'll be doing this week is just pulling in some work from you that will get individual feedback for everyone and some really sort of detailed response about how you're doing. The first thing for this will be a 20-question retrieval quiz. As ever, these pieces can be done at any point during the week on the different elements of the language and literature course. And then the new work, you've got a choice then. I've put a survey on forms for you to complete which one you want to do. Each are equally weighted. It's entirely up to you how you take them. I've put the required time for this work is about an hour to 90 minutes on Go for Schools. So this isn't a whole week's work. This is about doing, I think, one thing really, really well and putting all your focus into that. So you can choose a paper 1 question 5 practice, which is what we call creative writing, a paper 2 question 2, which is a poetry comparison question on any poems of your choice. Remember, in the exam, they will give you one poem and you have to pull out another one from the anthology from your memory. These are all what we call open text exams, so you can do them with the poems and your notes in front of them, including obviously the creative writing as well. And then lastly, you can choose to do a 10-minute interview with me on Teams regarding any 2 poems of your choice from the anthology. There is a speaking and listening element to the English language exam. It's a mandatory element. You don't receive a specific mark on it that contributes to your grade. You get distinction pass or merit pass or fail on it, but you do need to complete it. So I just thought that might be a useful practice to start getting into. And like I say, you choose one of these 3 things. You don't do all 3. So to go into what these assessment questions look like, the first one is a classic paper 1 question 5 type question where you have a picture of an image in front of you. So here you have again, it's up to you how you choose to phrase it. Is it a boat sinking? Is it a boat being pulled out of the water? Is it an extremely ancient or archaic form of submarine? Is it a spaceship that has landed? Remember, the idea is suggested. Write a description suggested by this picture, or write a story about a man or woman lost at sea. So you've got some room to maneuver there. Again, we're looking for quality of writing rather than quantity. It's very difficult to unfold a full detailed narrative within 45 minutes to an hour, which is all you'll have to write for this in the exam. So focus on the quality of your descriptive writing as opposed to trying to tell the whole story. I think one of the difficulties we find with creative writing is when we try and create too much action and too much plot in a very short space of time. In the amount of time you've got, it's fine to keep things mysterious. It's fine not to have a completely neat ending, but the richness and detail of your description is what will make the writing creative and interesting to the examiner, and in this case to me. Task 2, paper 2, question 2, a poetry comparison. So we're going to take a question that was used in 2017, compare how poets present the effects of war. And in the original exam, bayonet charge was the examiner's choice, and then you had to pick another poem to compare with it. In this case, I'm saying you can pick any 2 poems you like. You can pick bayonet charge if you want, that's absolutely fine, as one of your 2. And but if you don't want to pick it, if you're not familiar with it, then pick any 2 poems of your choice. Now, here, what we see here is bayonet charge and remains. And again, think about the effects of war in any 2 poems. So this could still include poems like My Last Duchess. It could still include poems like Ozymandias, because these are still the nature of different kinds of war. So, for example, Ozymandias detailing the war between man and nature and how nature erodes man's successes. Or the My Last Duchess poem talking about the war between the sexes and the war between the Duke's status and role and his jealousy. So we're not thinking about just war as in terms of major land war between 2 opposing countries, but I suppose you're thinking in terms of conflict as well between people. So yes, you could do quite a literal version of that. Bayonet charge and remains are very specifically about military campaigns, as is, say, Charge of the Light Brigade, but it might be quite interesting to compare something like Charge of the Light Brigade, which is about the impact of war on a collective of people, and say something like My Last Duchess or Ozymandias, which are more about the impacts of war on the individual. This opening paragraph was from a real response. It achieved 30 out of 30. So it's worth looking at in terms of how it sets it up. And I think the important thing to note here is right from the start, you can see that the writer is referencing both poems all the time. Now, again, you don't have to do that in the exam, but I personally think it's a really effective way of demonstrating you're comparing all the time to the examiner. And it seems to me a sensible thing to do rather than I always feel the danger with writing about each poem quite separately is that it feels like two separate essays as opposed to one smooth response. The last thing you could choose to do, and this is the more unusual thing, but I think it's a good opportunity for us to take advantage of the technology, and this would be a 10-minute meeting on Teams. You're very welcome to do it in groups if you like, so that I could say meet for an hour with 6 people and they could all be on the call at the same time to listen to each other and get an idea of how it's going, or it could just be one-to-one, and obviously all of those will be recorded. So this time a slightly different question. Compare how poets present the use and misuse of power in any 2 poems from the anthology. Again, it's entirely your choice what those 2 poems are, and you'll need to prepare a 3 to 5 minute verbal presentation on the above topic and then leaving 5 minutes for any questions from me. The questions won't be designed to catch you out. They'll just be questions to get you thinking. So it won't be a question like, what is the nature of the meter in the 3rd line of My Last Duchess? But it will be something like, how does the writer use structure to create an idea in My Last Duchess, or whatever poems you've chosen to talk about. The 3 to 5 minute presentation, it's a verbal presentation. I don't want you to share your screen with me on PowerPoint. I don't want you to sit in front of me reading verbatim. That means just completely, truly from notes in front of you that you just reiterate. But actually this sense of being able to present and discuss this idea of the use and misuse of power in any 2 poems from the anthology. The Q&A this week on Monday, period 5, will be all about thinking about how to answer these questions and taking any questions people might have. Just checking in on what people want to do, but please complete the Microsoft survey and the Teams element of it, so I know what you want to do, and that helps me prepare a bit better. Hope the rest of the week has gone well. Good luck with this, and I will speak to you and see some of you over the course of the week. All right, take care, Year 10. Look after yourselves. Bye.